Welcome to the November 2023 Las Vegas Real Estate Report. In this video, I'm going to cover the October Las Vegas area housing stats, talk about the continued low inventory and low demand market we have been seeing for pretty much this past year. I want to discuss the variables about what it would take for housing prices to crash, which is what everybody is always asking us or thinking that they're waiting for, which will tie into mortgage rates and when are they going to decline and what's going on with that. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about all of that along with opportunities for buyers, sellers, or if you're doing both. And hint, there's definitely some new home deals continue to be some of the best deals that we have at the moment. My name is Jan O'Brien, along with my co-team leader, Cosmo Marabi. We have this amazing team of experienced local area experts. Make sure you reach out to any one of them for all your Las Vegas, Henderson, Boulder City, and Pahrump real estate needs. All right, let's dive in. October saw $449 as the median sales price for single-family homes, which is kind of staying steady for the last 4 months. We had a little glip here in August when it went down to $447, but we've been seeing right around $450 for the past 4 months. I like to put that in perspective, okay? So this is why I always show this chart. Here is all of 2022 monthly stats, single family only, all the way through October. And let's just point out, again, if you haven't watched these videos before or you're not familiar with our market, back in May of last year in 2022, we hit this is a historical high for Las Vegas of $482,000 for a median price single family home. Now, what happened here is, again, coming in from 2021, we saw massive appreciation because of the COVID years and the interest rates being so low. So that brought us up from 435 to 482. And then right in here is where we saw interest rates go above 6%. So we saw them in the COVID years under 4, go in the 4s, the 5s, and then all of a sudden we had 6. Now, a couple things happened. Sellers and buyers put the brakes on. Sellers said, homeowners that might have been sellers said, I'm not selling my home because I don't want to give up my 3.75% interest rate or whatever their interest rate was at the time. And buyers went on the market, just basically went on the sidelines, and they're going to wait and see attitude, which is what happened here for the rest of 2022. We basically erased the appreciation gains in Las Vegas for 2022 because 425 is where we ended the year last year in December. It's where we were the year before. So 0% equity gain, 4 straight months of 425 into this new year. And then you can see where the prices have gone up. We had a little increase in demand. And basically, inventory has been low, okay, but variations in demand because people are still moving here, still buying homes, and you can see where we have been for the last about 4 months. Now, what's going on? Listings, 19% down year over year at new listings coming onto the market, 2332. Units available means how many homes were available to be sold the last day of the month. That's down 46.7% year over year, 4213. All right. Let's look at it from here and take a look at the charts to say, actually, one other thing, cash sales, 26.6%. That's been pretty steady, somewhere between all year, 25 to 27% of all homes are cash. That's not just investors. There's a lot of people moving in who can pay cash for homes from various other states in the country or even out of the country. So I like to show these charts because it's just showing seasonality and cyclical trends. It's not unusual to have less sales and less inventory in the last couple months of the year, as you can see in these charts, listings, availability, and again, number of closings. But what I'm wanting to show is just how low the inventory is comparative to other years up here, where we're in the 2,300 2,300 listings for the month is 50% less than what we've had in previous years, and it was actually much higher here last year in 2022. All right, so let's talk about why low inventory and low demand. I've just mentioned a few of them, but let's put it into perspective and show you some graphs and charts to back up these particular stats. Fact: most homeowners don't want to give up current payments at 4% and lower. In fact, this is just for FHFA, which is conventional loans. 70.7% of mortgage rates are less than 4%. For people that have a mortgage, 70.7% of conventional loans are under 4. So this is a huge reason why there's not enough properties on the market in Las Vegas and elsewhere in the country. That, coupled with builders, as seen here in red, for 14 straight years, not constructing enough homes to meet the historical average. All right, now we're back on track, but it's going to take a while to get back into having enough homes that are available for the demand being built, okay? And then mortgage interest rates moving over 6% last May, now in the mid 7s. We actually saw 8 last month and 8.03 without points. And now we're hovering in the mid 7s is what's keeping everything. Not many people want to buy, not enough inventory, not just for new homes, but people don't want to put their homes on the market. Now, what are the variables that would have to happen to have prices decline? And I've been talking month over month here in other ways, so I'm going to do it differently to basically say this is not what it was in the Great Recession. We had different set of variables, particularly it was a credit crisis. There was a lot of job loss, the economic conditions, and the fact that people had homes without a lot of equity. They definitely lost equity when the prices decreased, and that's where we created the foreclosure crisis and all the underwater homes. But backing up, mortgages were given to people on variable rates and no qualifications, and that has all changed. So people did not have equity. It set up a perfect storm for the foreclosures crisis. And, you know, at one point when I was practicing here then, 75% of our market was distressed properties, foreclosures, and short sales. Well, right now in October, 1.4%, and that is how it's been for the last few years. Because during COVID, we had the mortgage forbearance, and then we now again have a scenario where most people have equity. Now, what could lead to a crash? And there's just two conflicting things here, and it's the interest rates that you'll see here in a second that are not going to set up the perfect storm for a crash. So one of them is people have equity. There would have to be a significant increase in listings, and not enough people that want to buy the houses. Too much inventory, not enough buyers for it would decrease the prices. But we're not going to have too much inventory because the condition that's going to happen to increase the inventory, i.e. sellers want to finally sell, is interest rates come down. So interest rates come down, more people put their homes on the market, but guess what? More people are ready to jump in that have been on the sidelines. Now we're going to have a different setup. We're going to have prices increase. I'll get to that in our next chart, but let's continue on the doom and gloom of what could happen that could create a crash. Okay, listings have to go up. Well, they're not going to go up for sellers that have equity and the interest rates stay high. All right, great. Airbnb. Some people say, well, I've been reading about Airbnb. Let's just put it into all short-term rental investors. They are going to cause the housing market to crash because they're not renting them out because of inflation and just what's happening, and people aren't taking as many vacations. But again, put it in perspective. Airbnb is less than 1% of homes. All right, around all the investors would have to decide to dump all their properties for there to be such a significant increase, okay? And then lastly, we'd have to have some major economic crisis, extended recession, people losing their jobs. And even if that were to occur, and if you're watching the news, you're seeing the unemployment rate is lower, inflation is coming down. That's what's got the Fed talking about, and economists hoping and projecting that they're going to start decreasing the Fed fund rate, which will bring our mortgage interest rates down because of how it works with the Treasury and the bond market and so on. We would see hopefully lower interest rates in stages next year. All right. But again, we would have to have people lose their jobs, eat up all their equity to get to a place where there's more distressed properties that the system can't handle it, that there's not enough demand for it. Okay. So that's the variables that would have to happen for the prices to decrease. But I'm going to submit to you that the mortgage rates are the defining variable here. If mortgage rates, if and when they get below 6 and maybe even 5, this is what's going to trigger all the people sitting on the sidelines, buyers who are telling us, I'm going to wait. Sellers who are like, okay, well, I could deal with, a 4% or, buying down my interest rate to 5 something from my 4, putting their homes on the market. Now, all this pent up buyer demand, including these sellers who've been waiting to sell to buy, is not going to decrease because there'll have to be so much inventory that the demand is going to increase too. I personally feel there'll be enough demand and inventory that it gets absorbed, if not get back to some, maybe not as crazy as the COVID years, but I personally feel we'll get back to bidding wars. Price will increase because supply and demand. Supply has increased, but demand is high, if not higher, is going to determine how much supply versus the demand is what is going to determine whether the prices stay a little bit flat or they really increase. Now, what will happen if more people are bidding over the same homes is concessions that are available right now, with sellers being willing to give some things up, lower their prices, pay for your closing costs, will definitely go away. All right. So this is the scenario to help you see that. So where are the buyer opportunities? And we're always saying to people right now, because this is our common thing, I want to wait for the prices to come down and the interest rates to come down, and then I'll consider buying. And I hope I just showed you that what I believe is going to happen is, yes, you'll have lower interest rates, but will you have lower prices? Probably not. You can't. There is no perfect market. You don't get it all. So our current market has opportunities in it. And it has opportunities if you're working with a real estate agent who really knows how to negotiate and understands the market and can help you understand what your goals are. So the bottom line is, if you're listening to this in October, it's now November of 2023 for the October numbers, and we can show you that you could get into a property, have some concessions, and get your interest rate down in the 5s, and we can show you how we do that, and you're comfortable with that payment, then maybe right now is a good time to buy, so you're not caught up in the craziness that will happen once the interest rates get below that. We can negotiate for you to get those interest rates down with a buy down from seller concessions or builders that are offering that. So it's something to consider, but it's all about, and this is not just about call us so that we can make a sale. It's call us so we can educate you about whether you should wait, whether you could deal with it now, and if you can get in the 5s for your interest rate, and they happen to go down lower than what we could get you at 5.5, 5.75, then you can always refi, is what I know you know. All right. So there are opportunities. There's definitely opportunities with new builds. It's a mixed market though. Sellers for resales that have a great home priced right and it's been updated and it's newer, or they have renovated it and it's in great condition, the people that are buying right now, they all want that house. So there'll be a little bit of competition there. There are opportunities for resale homes where they're in great condition. They just might not be up to today's standards as far as the interiors. There's where some opportunities are. And there are a lot of negotiations we've done with sellers for our buyers to be able to get the concessions paid and maybe negotiate your price lower. As far as new builds are concerned, there's 3 camps actually. There's builders who build from the ground up and they're still offering incentives like special financing and interest rates, maybe concessions for design center. Then there's a group of builders that are doing spec homes, meaning they're picking everything out and they have a schedule. And inside of that group, there's 2 camps. There's the builders who are controlling their inventory, which is allowing them to control the pricing. So they release 2 properties this week. There's people that want to buy because they're offering all these amazing incentives, including low interest rates, and will cover all your closing costs. And then you want to buy that, you have to wait. So you're on the waiting list until they release some, you have that. Then there are a group of builders who have some inventory. The demand has been lower. They are offering great incentives and even in some cases saying, make us a reasonable offer and they will still potentially cover your closing costs. Again, you need to work with an agent who knows this, knows where those deals are, knows where those builders are. And that is us and the folks that are on our team. We're here to support you and help you. And we offer a consultation just so we can sit down and talk to you about the market. And it's all about your goals, your wants and needs. And we certainly want to help you. We have a ton of people that we have talked to this year that are waiting till next year to buy. And we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it about what's happening in the market and see what we can do to help negotiate for them there. So here's an example of some of the new build opportunities. 2-1 buy downs where you start the first year at 4.99, then 5.99, and then it goes to 6.99, which is 7. 6.9. Again, you would only do that if you'd have to qualify at the 7, but you'd only do that if you really, and the builder's paying for that buy down, not you, and that you believe the interest rates will come down and you could refi. It's better for us maybe to negotiate for you to get a fixed interest rate, like at 5.75. That's available right now at several builders. At 5.75, when the interest rates, are at 7.4 today. Okay. And there are quite a few builders around town. Again, we know where those opportunities are. Now, if you are a seller thinking about selling, you might want to wait. Okay. Again, I'm going to say there's no perfect market, but if you are waiting for the interest rates to come down, then you could have the benefit of putting your home on the market when there is an increased demand and maybe bidding wars. However, maybe you get a really good deal on your home. Somebody's willing to pay over or waive their appraisal, or some of those things that we saw when we had a little chaotic, high sellers market, very strong sellers market, where I believe it's a little bit mixed right now. But when you go to buy, you're going to be the buyer now, having to deal with competitive offers as well. Okay. So again, no perfect market. Inventory is low. So if you do need to sell right now and your property's in great shape, it can create a bidding war. It can create multiple offers and you don't have to give up concessions. If you're not wanting to renovate, this is where we need to talk to you about pricing and what the market is going to bear at the moment. And again, might be better for you to wait. It's again, up to you. And again, I just went over if you want to buy where the opportunities might be for buying. This last piece here is just to show, this is since 2012, median price from 149 here in Las Vegas. This is where I was telling you that we went up to 345 in 2020 by the end of 2020, the first year of COVID. And then we went from 345 to 425. The median equity for people here in Las Vegas during that COVID year was 80,000. And then we evened out from 2021 to 2022. I showed you in the previous graphs, 425. Now, it's not decreasing this year. It's going to be at least 2%. It might be 2 to 1% or even flat again. I don't see a decrease in the last 2 months of the year. As of October 2023, if the year was to end right here, there'd be about 9,000 in equity year over year, which is a 2% year over year gain. We'll see where the last 2 months are, but you can see that where it's not going to be a huge increase here in Las Vegas, but it could be right around 2%, which is what some of the projections for 2024 are, is to prices to go up, not decrease, right? As I just mentioned. All right, that does it for the November report, reporting on the October stats. We'll see you next month, where we'll see what happened to the price point. If it stayed at 449, dipped down a little bit, which it might. Follow us here, subscribe on YouTube. We're also on TikTok and Instagram. We'll see you next month.